Anyway,
Okay.
we're gonna go to, let's see, I'm gonna call that had some trouble with the line, but we'll see how that's working. And I'm gonna say, let's go with Dave in Montreal. Hey, Dave, can you hear us? Hello?
David or Alan?
Oh, I'm sorry. It says Dave in Montreal on line 5. Is that incorrect?
Well, I'm from Montreal, but I'm not Dave.
Okay, well, if you're Alan, we'll take that. Let me just say they've got 2 topics here, and I'm going to say based on time, let's just pick one. Pick your favorite.
Well, the slavery argument is actually very short. It's like, basically, if you guys have seen like Schindler's List, right?
I have seen Schindler's List.
So I was thinking, if somebody like Schindler, right, was back in times where slavery was acceptable or the law, they could enslave somebody to keep them away from other more dangerous slave owners.
Do you think that that's just to clarify? Is that
I think what he's basically
endorsing slavery?
I don't think that that's an argument in favor of slavery. That's an argument that says slavery is wrong, but if you had to work within a immoral system where slavery happens and people were going to die if you didn't enslave them, it's almost like 2 wrongs can help people in that situation. I don't think it makes slavery moral. I think it means that slavery is immoral, but if you had to work in a slave system and this was a way to help people who would otherwise be killed or treated more badly, yeah, it's almost like saying that if somebody has gangrene, right, of their leg, and it has to be amputated, I wouldn't call the amputation great, like a good thing. It's not a good thing that your leg had to be amputated. It's just better than dying from gangrene, right?
Right, and that's all that I was presenting.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to make it clear because what they said was that you were arguing for the morality of slavery.
Well, I mean, that's like the broad topic way of presenting it, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't call that an argument for the morality of slavery. I'd call it an argument for better or worse situations that include an immoral system of slavery.
Yeah, I think we can all agree that slavery is still immoral, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh, okay. All right.
So,
if do I have time for the veganism argument, which is like?
We can see. I mean, this looks like a long one, but might hold it over for another time. But if you want to lay it out.
Okay, I'm just going to lay it out. Basically, I assume some people listening have that sort of morality where they say, if everybody does it and it doesn't make sense, therefore that would be immoral. Like, what is like Kantian ethics, sort of?
Yeah, there's the idea that if everybody did this, it would be very bad, and so it's best if we don't do this.
Exactly. So veganism would be like not eating,
It's okay, Eric.
How do you call it? It wouldn't be participating in an unsustainable industry, which is like the agricultural industry, because it's like more money. It's subsidized and a bunch of other stuff, right? And it's environmentally unfriendly. Yeah. It's environmentally unsustainable.
So is my car.
Yeah, but I mean, if everybody drove it, wouldn't that be immoral?
If everyone drove, it would be immoral? Would it?
It's not environmentally sustainable, right? So basically...
So like, should I give up my car? Am I immoral for owning a car and using it?
Well, if it's unsustainable, then yes. But if it's sustainable, then no.
Okay, so then basically all of our modern technology would be out the window, correct? We wouldn't have a home with an air conditioning heater, like all of that.
I mean, would it? If you're...
Yeah, because if 7 billion people on the planet, or 9 billion, or I mean, we're heading for 9 billion in 2050. If we all start living in, 3-bedroom, 2-bath homes with heaters and air conditioning, and yeah, we're going to see some massive impact on the planet. The only thing that's not doing that is that right now, a lot of the planet doesn't live in the way that I do in the U.S.
Yeah.
Right, but that means it's not immoral. It is immoral.
It would be immoral, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
So here's a question: is the population going up a problem? Is that sustainable?
I mean, I don't know. I've heard statistics that say that the Earth can sustain like 27 billion people.
Do we want to hit capacity? Is it moral to say we should just go till we hit capacity?
Well, I mean, is it immoral for people to reproduce? Is that it? Or
I'm asking. I don't know. Is it moral for the human race to produce, to increase population?
I mean, we do, as humans, have a much bigger carbon footprint than a car. I mean, a dog has a bigger carbon footprint than a car, so...
Should we not have dogs? I mean, I just want to say, I'm playing devil's advocate because this is not how I define morality. But I do agree with you that there are people who do. And for them, I'm kind of like, I don't know how you would answer these questions, because it seems like almost anything is going to be a problem once you keep breeding. If we keep increasing the population, it's almost like crapping is going to be immoral at some point, right?
Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. I'm just saying under that particular ethics system, it would be immoral to not be vegan.
Well, I'm saying you could name almost anything that I'm doing day in and day out. Like the production of this program from this studio is probably, not a good thing if everybody did it.
Everybody poops. I read the book.
The show are unsustainable.
What I'm saying, though, is if everybody did a podcast and everybody had this sort of setup going on with all of the equipment that we've got running all the time and the energy that we're using, I've got to say that if 7 billion people all did this, it probably would have a pretty big impact. So is the show immoral?
Well, I mean, in that framework of ethics, yes, it is. Right?
I don't know, because I don't have that framework. But I mean, it seems like it if we're taking it as a very simplistic thing. But since I don't subscribe to it, it's hard for me to kind of quote defend it. It's not that I don't understand the principle. I just don't know how a person, if a person who really subscribed to that were sitting here, they might do a better job defending it. I don't know that I can defend it, because my first thought is everything is going to ultimately be a problem if we keep increasing the population.
Yeah, that's a fair fact. That I'm just.
So it seems to be that one of the easiest ways to kind of deal with the whole thing would be to make sure that the population doesn't continue to increase, and that way we don't have to worry about the impact of all these other things.
But that in itself would also be unsustainable, I think.
How come?
Framework. Because if people just stopped.
I'm not saying people stop. I'm saying, what if we stopped increasing the population?
Well, even if everybody stopped, wouldn't that be the most moral?
Yeah, I mean, if we went extinct, would that be the most moral thing? If we just basically said we're all just going to stop breeding and let the human race die? Would that be the most moral thing?
Well, it depends, but...
Then there would be no carbon footprint created by any human being. Should we let ourselves go extinct? I mean, there are people who have a voluntary human extinction initiative. This is actually a thing. I personally don't think that there's a problem with it, in that they're not saying go out and kill everyone. They're just saying let's just let ourselves die out as a choice.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not advocating that people just commit the genocide of the human race or whatever.
Sure, I get it, and I don't think that that's what you're saying. But I don't know. Okay, so can we just put this down as interesting question, and then I can let you go? Okay, we'll let you go. Thank you for the interesting questions.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. I'll put you on hold.